You feel things, but from a distance, like you're watching your own life through glass. Someone tells you good news and you smile because that's what you're supposed to do. Someone shares their pain and you listen, but it doesn't quite reach you. Not the way it seems to reach other people. You're not cruel. You're not indifferent. You're just detached. And most of the time, you don't even realize how far away you've drifted until someone points out that you don't seem to feel things the way you used to. You didn't stop feeling on purpose. Emotional detachment isn't about not having emotions. It's about disconnecting from them. It's a space you create between yourself and what you feel so that nothing can overwhelm you. Some people do this consciously as a coping mechanism, but for many it happens so gradually that they don't notice. One day they're feeling everything too much, and the next they're feeling almost nothing at all. And somewhere in between, their mind decided that feeling less was safer than feeling more. You can be in a moment and completely absent from it. Physically there, but emotionally unreachable. You hear the words people say, you see what's happening, but it's like there's a buffer between you and the experience, a protective layer that keeps everything at arm's length. And while that distance protects you from pain, it also separates you from joy, from connection, from the full experience of being alive. Something taught you that feeling was dangerous. Most people who become emotionally detached didn't start out that way. They started out feeling deeply, maybe too deeply. They were the ones who absorbed everything around them, who felt other people's emotions as if they were their own, who got hurt easily, who cried over things that others brushed off. And somewhere along the way, that sensitivity became a problem. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions were unpredictable, where you never knew which version of your parent you'd get. So you learned to stay neutral, to not react, because reacting meant becoming a target. You learned that showing fear made things worse, that showing sadness was weakness, that showing anger was unacceptable. So you learned to feel nothing. And over time, the act became real. Or maybe your emotions were dismissed so often that you started dismissing them too. You'd feel hurt, and someone would tell you that you were overreacting. You'd feel sad, and they'd say others had it worse. So you learned that your feelings weren't valid, that they were inconvenient. And the easiest way to stop being a burden was to stop feeling altogether. Most people never realize why this happens. Some people detached because feeling meant remembering, because their emotions were connected to things they couldn't process, trauma they couldn't face, loss they couldn't accept. So their mind created distance, not as a choice but as a survival strategy. It said, if we don't feel this, we don't have to deal with it. And for a while that worked. The numbness kept them functional. It let them get through the day without falling apart. But numbness doesn't distinguish. It doesn't just block the bad, it mutes everything. So you stop feeling excited about things that used to light you up. You stop feeling connected to people you care about. You stop feeling much of anything, really. And you tell yourself that's fine, that you're just calm, that you're just rational, that feelings are overrated anyway. Except sometimes, late at night, you wonder if something's wrong with you. You see people cry at movies and you feel nothing. You watch people light up when they talk about their passions, and you can't remember the last time you felt that kind of intensity. You're there for the big moments, the ones that should mean something, and you feel like you're observing instead of experiencing, like you're a guest in your own life. You learn to observe instead of feel. People who are emotionally detached often become very good at analyzing. They can talk about their feelings intellectually. They can explain why they feel a certain way, what caused it, what it means. But there's no heat in it, no real emotion behind the words. It's like they're describing someone else's experience. Because they've created so much distance between themselves and their emotions that even when they acknowledge them, they don't actually feel them. You might tell someone you're sad, but you say it the same way you'd say you're tired. Factually, detached. And people don't always understand that. They think you're handling things well, that you're strong, but you're not strong. You're just disconnected. Detachment feels like safety, but it's actually isolation. Because when you detach from your emotions, you also detach from other people. Connection requires vulnerability. It requires letting people in. But when you've spent years building walls around your emotions, you can't just take them down for certain people. The walls are there for everyone. You want to feel close to people, but closeness requires presence, and you're not fully present, so relationships feel hollow. Conversations feel surface level, because you're going through the motions without actually feeling them. And the loneliest part is that people don't see it. They see someone who's calm, stable. They don't see someone who's drowning in numbness, who wants to feel but can't. Emotional detachment isn't coldness, it's protection that became a prison. Your mind didn't detach you from your feelings to punish you. It did it to protect you. At some point, feeling everything was too much. It was overwhelming. So your brain created distance, it turned down the volume, and for a time that helped. But survival mechanisms don't always know when to turn off. What kept you safe once might be keeping you stuck now. The detachment that helped you endure might be preventing you from living fully, because you're not in crisis anymore, but your nervous system doesn't know that. And here's the hard part. You can't just decide to feel again, because detachment isn't a choice you made consciously. It's a protective response that's wired deep, and undoing it requires safety. Real safety, the kind that convinces your nervous system that it's okay to lower the walls. You're not broken, you're protected. The numbness you carry isn't a flaw, it's a scar. It's evidence of something you survived. Your detachment was adaptive once. It kept you intact when everything around you was falling apart. But you're allowed to want more than just survival. You're allowed to want to feel things again, to be moved by beauty, to feel connected to the people you love, to feel connected to yourself. Wanting that doesn't mean you're ungrateful for the protection your mind gave you. It just means you're ready for something different. Reconnection doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments, in letting yourself notice when something feels good, in not immediately dismissing an emotion when it surfaces, in staying present even when the instinct is to retreat. It's slow work, because your system has spent so long keeping you at a distance that closeness feels foreign. But closeness isn't the enemy, pain was the enemy, and pain isn't permanent. The detachment that once saved you is now distancing you from a life that's safe enough to feel, and learning that is how you start to come back. You don't have to feel everything all at once. But you can start small. You can notice moments when your detachment softens, when something almost reaches you, and instead of pushing it away, you can let it stay, just for a second. The emotions you've kept at a distance are still there. They didn't disappear. They're just waiting for permission to come back. And when you're ready, they will. Not all at once, but gradually, gently, in a way that reminds you that feeling isn't the same as breaking, that you can hold emotions without being consumed by them. You've been distant for so long because closeness once meant danger, but you're not there anymore. You're here, in a life where feeling is safe, where emotions don't have to be enemies, and maybe you're ready to let the glass break, to stop watching your life from a distance and start living it up close. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but present, and that's enough. There are more people like you than you think, quiet, thoughtful, feeling deeply, even when no one sees it. This space exists for people like you. A place where you don't have to pretend. You can come back here whenever the world feels too loud. If this video understood you, you're welcome here. Take care of yourself. And don't forget, you don't have to do this alone.